What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today we are doing the obviously way too early pre-combine quarterback rankings. We haven't dived too deep into the tape yet. Obviously, this is just from what we've already studied as well as just watching games and stuff. So obviously, this list is subject to change, but I wanted to get you guys out this content. I wanted to take a little bit of a deep dive into the class of quarterbacks, and then we're going to do every other position as well. Obviously, there are some guys like Dwayne Eskridge, I believe his name might be, from Western Michigan, and he is like a wide receiver I've never seen before. So things like that I have to do some more research on, but for the most part, most of these quarterbacks I know quite a bit about. So let's go into this. Let's dive into this. If you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe. You know all that. You know all that stuff. So let's get into this. Trevor Lawrence, first quarterback. Is this even a talk? Like, you look at him, 6'6", 220. He's a little bit lanky. I'm not gonna lie, but he is like the Andrew Luck. It's a stereotypical boring first overall guy. He does have flaws. He stares down his first read. He does actually seem to have a knack to be able to get injured, but I'm telling you, last year during when he played Ohio State the first time in the playoffs, that was special. The way that he was able to conduct himself and be able to have strength and poise to go through those hits. Trevor Lawrence, like, he had a pretty shit team around him. He lifted them up. Just because he didn't look as good as Justin Fields doesn't mean he's not as good as Justin Fields. Got to look at his surrounding cast as well. Number two, I'm pretty firm in this decision after continuing to watch Zach Wilson. I mean, dude, this guy, he's special. You hear all these commentators being like, "Well, I'm thinking of a comp for him, but the names are too good." Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, like, guys, if those names pop off to you, sure, we can't just straight up say he's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he deserves to be the number one overall pick then, but that means that he has it in him, and that's unbelievable. That's amazing. The ball like moves out so fluidly. He had a shoulder surgery already, but as a guy who knows a thing or two about shoulder surgeries, because a lot of people I know have had them, especially that exact one he had, they come back perfectly fine. If not, the shoulder's healthier after the fact, especially with his arm angles. That could lead to some future injuries, but we're seeing all quarterbacks throughout the NFL starting to develop this multi-angle throw. So I think that's going to be perfectly fine for Zach. You know, I think that he's mobile as well. He's a great kid in the locker room. I think he gets a little bit fed up with his own talent, and that's okay until it starts costing the team. So I think that is going to be very crucial. Zach Wilson is a beast. You know, we can't write his name off. Justin Fields is also a really good talent, but I'm telling you right now, he is Sam Darnold. You know, he has a pretty dirt low floor. We've seen it. He just makes some reads that, like, you really shouldn't make. An NFL quarterback would not make that, but he makes some throws that most NFL quarterbacks sometimes can't make. So he is absolutely amazing. He's a great leader as well, pushing through the pain against Clemson this year. So I guess, like, flopping the roles, literally probably having a bruised, if not broken rib. That's huge. That was huge. He was able to show some real good poison there. Against Alabama, he was a bit lackluster, I will admit, but that's okay. You know, everybody has their ups and downs. Like, just because somebody has a good game and a bad game doesn't make them good or bad. It's consistency. And Justin Fields is a really good offensive scheme there, but people are getting on the Dwayne Haskins train. It's like, Justin Fields is not Dwayne Haskins, all right? Like, everybody was saying, like, dude, this guy only checks the ball down to Dwayne Haskins. Like, they're like, he's put up 50 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, but like, he does check down the ball a lot, and that's Ohio State's scheme. Justin Fields is making NFL-style reads, NFL-style anticipatory throws. He needs to develop it a little bit better, but those comebacks, amazing. Just, he has all the tools that you need. You just need to make sure he can rest and be able to, get healthy. I don't want him to be rushing in this coming year, even if it's like, he's going to be perfectly healthy by then. I don't want him to start week one. I want him to be able to have a little bit more time to heal up that rib, just because it's healed doesn't mean it's perfectly healed. I think that Justin Fields needs a little bit more time. He needs time to rest, think, and be able to learn from somebody who isn't maybe you could learn from a pure gunslinger, but somebody who is careful enough with the ball to where they're not a complete idiot. So Justin Fields has those moments where he looks like a complete fool, but he has some amazing throws. I'm not huge on the Trey Lance train, all right? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If Desmond Ridder were here, he'd be my number 4 guy. And my boy Mason is gonna like that comment, but it's like, Trey Lance, the only reason I put him above Mac Jones and Kyle Trask is because I can be okay with him being taken in the first. Like, Mac Jones, he's just a guy, he's super high floor, but so low ceiling that's like, you're trying to get a quarterback in the first, it's usually a franchise guy. And this guy, unless he is Jimmy G, which is pretty much the upper echelon of those dudes, and not AJ McCarron, okay. But he doesn't look like that. He has one of the best offensive lines, cleanest pockets, and he has some of the best wide receivers you've ever known. Like Mac Jones, really talented. But we're talking about Trey Lance here. Trey Lance, he's really talented. He has some great legs. He's able to stand in the pocket, and like if his passing game is shit, he can make it with his legs, and that's wonderful. But if he can't make it with his legs, I'm a little bit worried about his inconsistency with accuracy. He sails some real wide open balls. Watching University of Central Arkansas, yes, that's a 1-game tape, but dude, that was embarrassing. And I watched the FCS championship last year. I watched every single game in the FCS playoffs with North Dakota State. And I'm telling you, Ben DiNucci looked better than Trey Lance in their game. I'm glad that he can run and be able to win with his legs, but one injury and that's gone. So what can he do as a quarterback? I'm not sure. He needs to rest. He needs to be able to have a good scheme around him, similar to Lamar Jackson. He's kind of like a weird like Cam Newton hybrid. So we'll see how that goes. Trey Lance is a very unique prospect, someone who's super raw. I think he's only thrown a little bit under 100, a little bit over 100 passes in his career, which is about the same amount of times as he ran. So just watch out for that one. Mac Jones out of Alabama, again, just a high floor, low ceiling dude. 44 tight window throws compared to Joe Burrow's 122 or something like that last year. That's a little bit scary just because, anybody can throw to wide open guys if you're NFL level talent. And then Kyle Trask, I think he's getting a bad rap. I still have him as like a mid-second. He had one bad game, and that was like unfortunately the last game we saw, which is going to be beneficial to a team who takes him. I think he needs to just sit. Florida has some great weapons. He very well might have been benefited by the scheme and the weapons. But outside of that, I've seen him be able to make plays with his feet, even though he's not an athletic dude. Somebody who has a good enough arm, his balls definitely die out on his passes. Like if you watch it, like his balls just like they lose velocity, like probably around that 35-yard mark. So it kind of gives the defenders chances to catch up and be able to get the ball. And that's something to be a little bit worrisome, but his mechanics need to be fixed. That's the big deal. Like if they can fix his mechanics, I think he can add some velocity to those throws, kind of be not Josh Allen, but like similar to that Josh Allen improvement where improving your mechanics is super helpful. Aaron Rodgers says you could throw a ball like 700,000 times with one motion and you won't change your mechanics. Josh Allen did that. So I think Kyle Trask can change up his footwork and he doesn't use his front leg. So if he can do that, I think he can add some velocity and be competing up here in this 4 territory. But for right now, you got to make sure that he's groomed. Next, this is the one that I guess he was ranked around like 11 for TDN. I jumped him up. Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. He's had flashes where he's a really good guy in the locker room. So this guy, he's going to probably be a backup, right? Mel Kiper loves this guy. He has some really good velocity on his ball. He like in short range, he has some really good zip. He has some really good accuracy. He doesn't make too many mistakes until he starts making mistakes. His problem, I think, is that he starts making mistakes over and over and over again. Like I don't think that he has that great of an ability to learn from his mistakes. That's a huge red flag to me, and that's probably why he'll never be a starter in the NFL. But I still think it's worth a shot. You've seen him be a true like I put him as a first round grade in some games I've seen. Like he's played like a first round quarterback, but some games he played like a 7th. Man, it's a real flip one. It's like I don't know. And speaking of that, Kellen Mond is the exact same, except a little bit more towards the 7th round type of deal. Kellen Mond has some great legs. He has, his team isn't that great. They have some pretty good weapons, but it's nothing like in Alabama where you're getting lifted up by Devontae Smith. Kellen Mond has done a lot with not a lot at Texas A&M. He's been really competitive. They led him to a really good record. And, they barely, not barely, according to like Alabama win records, they barely lost Alabama, even though it was a pretty good point spread. Kellen Mond has these moments where he puts the ball right on the money. He looks amazing. I think he's a similar guy to Justin Fields where, not obviously similar, like the idea that he needs to rest. He needs to rest, sit down, take a good look. He has more potential than Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger just has a higher floor. So I was just more comfortable. If you're wanting to get a backup, you don't really take a shot on one unless you want to take a shot. So these guys are kind of like 7A and 7B, and that's okay. Shane Buechele, my school quarterback, SMU, he's good. He's really good. Problem is, I think that he's pretty much just a degraded Mac Jones and Kyle Trask. Like, no disrespect to Shane whatsoever. He's done a really good job. He was better than Sam Ehlinger at Texas, right? He only got replaced by Sam because of injury. I just did have a voice crack. Yes, you guys can take me down for that. But Shane Buechele's a really talented guy. He just doesn't have very good velocity on those balls. And I saw through the course of the season, as soon as the game broke down and SMU was behind, I rarely saw us be able to get back into the game. And that's something that obviously our defense needed to work on, but our offense wasn't doing too hot either. And a lot of those games were really close games that shouldn't have been close. Tulsa should have been like destroying Tulsa. I know they have some really talented dudes on that roster, but it's not it. It's not it. So it worries me a lot, especially when Shane does some very questionable throws. He does like to check the ball down a lot, which is good and safe, but sometimes it's just I saw a ball just go straight to a defender, and I'm like, what did you see there, man? So all respect to Shane, he's a good quarterback. That's why he's top 10. Ian Book, I don't even know if he's going to be declaring. I think that he should probably take the COVID red shirt and be able to go back. I'm not 100% sure if you can do that. I know that Derek King did that. Ian Book should definitely go back. He has a lot of talent, but his line is the best in college football, arguably. Like he has an amazing offensive line. He has some really good weapons, like Skoranek. Like that dude's super underrated. Kyron Williams. He has some great running backs too. Ian Book is definitely a system quarterback, but he has some talent. Jamie Newman. He is a guy who I'm a little bit more low on. I watched him every single snap at Wake Forest. Did not see what you guys are seeing. He has athleticism. Wonderful. What do you want to you want to call him Lamar Jackson again? I mean, this dude, he didn't have good ball placement. He didn't look comfortable. The Wake Forest scheme, that was garbage. I don't know why Jamie Newman decided not to play this year. He might have done it because of health reasons, and if that's the case, obviously he needs to protect himself over his career. I don't know why he declared for the draft. He is a redshirt senior, but again, there is a COVID redshirt, so I think that he should have probably went back one more year and done that again. But I mean, I'm telling you right now, this dude he's gonna be 24 in the first year that he plays / if they make it to the playoffs. Actually, no, there are Christmas games that are in the regular season. Like he'll be 24 in his first season. I've heard they can run 4.3s. That's great, but who cares? If you can't throw the ball, who cares? He's gonna be a great project. I think that he could be a great third stringer. But it's a huge drop off for me right here after 10. Felipe Franks, he's just a dude. He's really bounced around in his career. He's supposed to be LSU quarterback, goes to Florida, and then gets beaten out by Kyle Trask. At Arkansas, he had flashes where he looked really talented. And Arkansas was in a lot of those games. Even if he didn't look that great, Arkansas was in a lot of those games. And it was weird. It was weird how in those games Arkansas was, because they're not that great of a roster. Felipe Franks has a little bit of a sneaky guy who could probably make a roster type of vibe. Like he's really good. Brady White is a guy who, if you're just wanting a guy with zero ceiling and a guy who can check the ball down, kind of like if you cut Drew Brees in half right now, like how good Drew Brees is right now in half, that you get Brady White. Like all he does is check the ball down. He doesn't have the ball velocity to really get it out there. He has some throws. Everybody in this list can make a 40-yard throw if they want to. It's how they make it. Like if the defender is able to see the ball in the air for 20 seconds, I'm like, sorry, dude. Like he's releasing it so early that's going to get picked. Who cares? Like Brady White, I was a huge fan of him. I had him as a second, right? I saw his age too. Like, dude, this dude is literally going to be, he's going to be 25 in his first year. And he took a big step back this year when he lost Antonio Gibson. So that's worrisome to me. That's really worrisome to me. And he really just has no ceiling whatsoever. KJ Costello, he's a guy, oh my God. They talk about bouncing around. He got replaced by a true freshman. Like, dude, he had some first round hype to him. People were like, dude, this guy's going to be in the first or second. I don't understand what the hell happened. I don't understand. After his injury, I believe at Stanford, he just was not the same. He just changed. I'm pretty sure 2 years ago, he was one of the best college quarterbacks, and he was really talented. But there was just a big drop-off. I don't get it. It's sad. I really wish it didn't happen, but that's okay. Zach Smith out of Tulsa. These are where, like, it's starting to get, like, okay, I haven't watched too much tape on these guys. Zach Smith, obviously, he was in the game. He made some good throws against SMU. And Tulsa is pretty solid. They're in the game against Cincinnati. So we can't disrespect them that much. They do a pretty good job there. Obviously, I don't think Zach Smith's the real reason for it, but he's somebody where you can draft him in the 7th, if not undrafted. And he could probably make a roster or a practice squad, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. If he proves me wrong and is really good, that's wonderful. I have all these guys. I hope they prove me wrong. Well, except the guys who I think are good. I want all these guys to succeed because I love seeing some young new talent. It sucks seeing Philip Rivers retiring, Ben Roethlisberger soon to retire, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. Like all the guys we've looked up to are starting to go. It's nice to see guys like Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson come in and make things good. Zach Thomas, he's made some questionable reads, and there's some big red flags on his tape, but he has some really good throws. So that's the only reason he's here. Honestly, I might move Peyton Ramsey up a bit because he's made, like, I'm pretty sure in like the game where I saw against Ohio State, Northwestern, did they do a bowl game? I don't know. I've seen some good flashes from Peyton. I'm pretty sure he was he an Indiana quarterback? I thought Peyton Ramsey was an Indiana quarterback for a while. He's had some really big red flags as well, but he makes some really good throws. Somebody who, again, could probably make a practice squad. These guys, I all don't really know except for Anthony Brown. I know obviously he didn't start, and then Kevin Thompson was ass. So I could not even put Kevin Thompson anywhere above these guys like Jacksonville State's Zarek Cooper or Akil Glass. I'm pretty sure Akil Glass used to be on North Texas. That's something I don't really remember. But if that is the guy who I was thinking of, because I know the guy's name was Glass, then he's a really accurate quarterback who has basically no ceiling. So that's the list, guys. It's not the best quarterback class in the world. I think after this top three, there's just a really big fall off. And that being said, honestly, after the top two, there's a big fall off if you want to win now. Justin Fields has that potential, but it's a little bit scary. Justin Fields has the highest potential in the class. He just doesn't have that floor. It's something where if teams are trying to trade up to get a Zach Wilson or a Justin Fields, might want to wait for another year. Desmond Ridder, he deserved to be a first this year, and he's going to improve. He might even win the Natty next year with Cincy. Just watch out for that. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be excited for the series because we're going to be dropping videos sporadically throughout the next weeks. So I'll see you on the far side. Peace.